Good afternoon and welcome to today's training session, which is email marketing for your small business. And for the next 45 minutes or so, I will be talking about aspects of using email marketing for small businesses. And really my hope by the end of this session is that you are inspired to start thinking about email marketing for your business, or inspired to take it a step further, inspired to reinvigorate your email marketing. I had an apology just there that the camera's not working. That's absolutely fine. I understand that. And there's no obligation to turn cameras on during this session. So thank you for coming along to the session this afternoon, or indeed for watching the recording. So if this recording is good, and if the session is good enough quality, I will be recording it. Well, it is being recorded. I will be putting it onto YouTube and making it available to you there. And you're welcome to share it with other people to rewatch it, whatever. I have no issue with that. Okay, so this is where I see whether the slides are actually working. Hang on. All right, so welcome. My name's Andrew Knowles. I am a trainer, explainer, small business coach. I've been delivering training for well over 25 years now. I started in the software industry many years ago, helping large businesses understand how to use complex finance systems. I went freelance as a copywriter. It's a bit of a change of direction. I went freelance as a copywriter about 12 years ago, and quickly got into using social media, Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, and quickly got back into the training groove and helping small business owners particularly learn how to use those tools. And I broadened that to also cover things like email marketing and other areas of digital marketing, because there's a whole new arena now for small businesses. And I'm passionate about supporting small businesses. I'm very involved in the small business community in various ways. I was president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Weymouth for a couple of years. So I'm very pro small business. And why do I run these courses for free? Why do I deliver training that is completely free? Well, as I was saying just before we got started formally, I've just published a blog post on my website about why I do this, and I'm driven largely by the fact I love delivering training. I love seeing people learn. I'm also very pro small businesses. I want to see small businesses do better, and I know not everyone has got a budget, a time budget or a finance budget that allows them to invest a lot in training. I can't do much about the time piece. You have to put some time in, but certainly this training that I run will help with the finance piece. And also this helps me to, frankly, this helps me to keep up to date with what's going on by running training courses like this. I do other training courses, paid training activities, but all my training activity helps me to stay sharp, because if you're going to train people in something and talk about a subject, you need to know it pretty well. I certainly don't claim to have all the answers, and I cover a broad range of subjects. So I see myself more as a generalist, helping small business owners get to grips with these things. But if you want to get into really specialist stuff, then I can point you at other people for that. You'll find me on social media as Andrew Explainer, and I often use the hashtag Andrew Explains, particularly on Twitter and on Instagram, on LinkedIn as well. Actually, I use Andrew Explains quite a lot on LinkedIn. So you're welcome to follow me on the social networks, send me a connection request on LinkedIn, whatever. Be great to connect with you on one of the networks. Today we're talking specifically about email marketing. Now, if you've got questions as we go through this session, then please put your questions in the chat. Use the chat to say hello, introduce yourself, but also if you've got a specific question as I go through, throw it into the chat. I've got the chat on a separate screen here. I will endeavor to catch up with that from time to time and endeavor to answer your questions. Now, no marketing training session can start with anything other than statistics. It's the way it always seems to go, isn't it? And I've chosen just a few stats that I think are useful to help to open the conversation. I don't want to bore you with stats. I don't want to bore myself with stats. So Why email marketing? Because quite a lot of small businesses and small business owners I talk to, email marketing isn't that a bit old hat? Isn't that, it's not exciting. It's not like TikTok, is it? I mean, it's not cool. And I don't want to spam people. Well, these facts will hopefully help you to think that through. And I've referenced all these facts. So this particular fact comes from Opt-in Monster. A lot of the email marketing companies themselves do research around these things. And there are lots of other stats floating around. You'll find 1,000,001 of them online. 99% of users check in daily. That's one of the powers of email marketing, is 99% of email users will check into their email every single day. I'm not sure that stat applies to any of the social networks. I mean, I'm a big fan of Twitter, and I'm often on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook, but I certainly don't check into Instagram and LinkedIn every single day. I'm on Twitter every day. I'm a big fan of Twitter and Facebook. Well, I need to be on Facebook to keep up with friends and family. But that's one of the powerful things about email marketing. The user base check in to email on a regular basis. 99% check in daily. Now, 6 out of 10 small businesses, and this stat comes from Campaign Monitor, 6 out of 10 small businesses are already using email marketing. So if you're not already using email marketing, you're already in the minority. Now, how well they're using it is a whole separate issue. And whether they're using it consistently, again, is a different matter. But it's a lot of small businesses are already, and there's some questions coming in, which is great. I'll take a look at those in a bit. So keep asking them, please. So lots of small businesses are already using email marketing. Now, of course, a small business ranges from anything in size to, I think a small business, I can't remember the official definition, but small businesses can actually be quite large, employing a good number of people. Whereas many small businesses, like mine, possibly like yours, is just you. And there's only 24 hours in the day, and you can't spend an awful lot of time on email marketing. So it is a challenge. So part of the challenge here is how can we make it work for us? One thing I often hear about people wanting to use email marketing for their business is, I don't want to bore people. I don't want to spam people. I don't want to, put people off. Well, I've not actually sourced this statistic because there are lots of statistics around this. And rather than picking out a particular one, I just thought I'd make a general statement that many people or many organizations that are using email marketing send more than one email a week. So if you're thinking, how often should I send an email out to people? Once a month, well, once a month isn't very often. It's only 12 a year. So I'd encourage you, if you're thinking about email marketing, don't be put off, don't be put off from doing it more than once a month, really. And in fact, I'd encourage you to think about emailing more than once a month, once a week, once every couple of weeks. My wife's an author, so she's running her own business. She's writing books, publishing books, dealing with other authors, and she recently went through a process of signing up to lots of other author newsletters as part of her research into what they were doing. And she was actually shocked at how many authors were sending out emails daily. She actually unsubscribed from quite a few because, in her opinion, daily was a bit much. And there are stats which would support the fact if you're sending more than 4 or 5 emails a week, that is getting pretty intense. But certainly, think about emailing more than once a month. I think that's really the takeaway from that. 8 in 10 people will open a welcome email. Now, I'll refer to welcome emails again a bit further on, but welcome emails are the email that goes out when someone signs up to your mailing list, and they have the highest open rate. So I highly recommend you to have a welcome email. That is an email that gets sent to somebody the moment or within a very short time after they've actually signed up to your mailing list. I signed up to someone's mailing list just the other day. Actually, I've been commissioned to do to write a review of their digital marketing strategy. So as part of that, I thought, well, I'll sign up to their mailing list, and I signed up to their mailing list, and nothing, silence. Not a word. 2 weeks later, I got an email from that mailing list because that was their monthly email going out. But some people, they sign up to stuff and then they forget they've signed up. So they suddenly get a random email 2 weeks later. Oh, why am I getting this email? And it's very tempting then to tick the box saying unsubscribe, and I didn't ask for this email in the first place, when they did ask for it. I did ask for it. In this case, I didn't unsubscribe, obviously. So a welcome email just reinforces the whole, oh, right, I've signed up to something and I've immediately got a message from them. And 8 out of 10 people open that welcome email. So it's a very high open rate. So I highly recommend, if you've got an email marketing process in place or you want to put one in place, have a welcome email set up. Most of the mailing systems will allow you to automate this process. So you can have an automatic trigger. So as soon as someone signs up, or within a certain short time after, they will get an email from you. And my machine has decided not to respond to it. Oh, there we are. Okay, there we are. It's finally woke up to me pressing the button. And one of the most important statistics really in email marketing is the return on investment. So there are various sources for this. Now, this particular source comes from Litmus. Litmus produce an annual State of Email Marketing report. So this is from the most recent one. And they actually said it's really hard to measure return on investment for email marketing. And obviously it's different for everybody. But their assessment was that in previous years, the return on investment was that for every pound spent, well, actually it was dollars spent in their case, but the principle applies obviously here as well. For every pound spent, there was at least £36 worth coming back. So the return on investment, in fact, they were reckoning it was probably well over that these days. The pandemic has increased the return on investment from email marketing. There's a lot more digital marketing and email marketing going on as a result of what's happened over the last 2 years. So as a general principle, the return on investment really for email marketing is sizable, and it's way ahead of any other form of digital marketing. So there's another reason for considering email marketing. Does that guarantee that for every pound you spend, you will get 30 or 40 pounds back in sales? No, it doesn't. It all comes down to quality and quality of your mailing list and what you're putting out there. But as an average, it is a very high return on investment. So that's a good number to take away, but it's not a promise. Okay, so let's look at some of the questions that have come in. So I'm thinking of using MailChimp, says Paul. Does this rely on your existing subscribers on it? Can it grow because you've signed up to it? Does it rely on your existing subscribers? Well, MailChimp, I actually use MailChimp, Paul. MailChimp allows you to, there are various ways. In fact, I'll talk a bit later on about adding people to the mailing list. But MailChimp, like all the other mailing systems, is a place where you can build your mailing list. And there's lots of different ways you can build your mailing list. So yes, you can get people to, you can add emails to your mailing list. You can add them manually. You can have people sign up. So for example, if you go to my website right now, and on the footer of every single page, there's a sign up form. If you put your details in there, that will go straight through to my MailChimp. So that I've set that up so it's connected to my MailChimp, and it will immediately go through and you'll be added to my MailChimp mailing list if you do that to my website. So that's typically the way that it works. What's the best way to acquire emails? Well, let's come back to that one, because that's the tricky piece. To be honest, one of the tricky pieces in all of this is how do you get people on your mailing list? So we'll contemplate that as we go through. Now, what I'm going to do as I go through this session this afternoon is show you some examples of emails that I open on a regular basis. Okay, so these are emails that I've signed up to, and I may or may not be customers of these particular people. And you can go away and find these people from their names, and you can go and sign up to them yourselves, and you can see what they put out there. So these are emails that I know that I open. I don't open all of them, but I open a lot of them. So I thought it's a useful way of helping you to understand what works in terms of content for emails, because there's loads of articles out there about how to write emails and for marketing purposes and templates and things. But this is real life examples, and this is what's appealing to me as a freelancer, as a guy in my 50s. So I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, so I'm a particular demographic. So these are things that are working. These are things that connect with me. So the first one is Phil from Cool Content, and Phil is a copywriter. And every few days, I get an email from Phil. Now, I'm not suggesting that you want to read this particularly, and I'm not going to read it to you either. But look at the presentation. I mean, Phil also uses MailChimp. And I know he uses MailChimp, and he's using the free MailChimp, I'm assuming, because it's got the little MailChimp badge at the bottom of his email. And you can take that badge off if you're paying them. So I'm assuming he's using the free MailChimp because he hasn't taken the badge off. So Phil is also using MailChimp. And what Phil does is he tells a story. Every email he sends out. So this particular one, he's talking about an independent coffee shop, and it was a great place for his wife and his kids to go. And they were friendly, but the owner complained there weren't enough customers. And every time he sends an email, Phil tells a little story like this, something from his life, and then he turns it into a marketing, puts a marketing angle on it. And then by the end of the email, you've not got the whole email here on the screen, you've only got the first part. By the end of the email, he always gets to the same point, which is basically, if you want to do copywriting better, sign up to my course. So he always ends with the same message, but he always starts with a different story. And I'm always just interested to read it. I'm not particularly planning to sign up to his course. Sorry, Phil, if you end up seeing this particular video, but I think they're great emails and they're a great example. And I encourage you to sign up to other people's emails, particularly people in your own industry, people who do what you do, and look at what they are putting out there. Now, you don't know how effective it is, but if they're doing it consistently, week after week after week, then that's a bit of a clue that it's probably working for them. Because a lot of people start putting out emails and then they give up after a short while. And why do they give up? Well, they give up because they're not working for them typically. So if someone's doing it over and over again, it's a sign that it's working for them. There's no harm asking them. You know, a lot of small business owners are very happy to share their thoughts and their experiences, even if you're in the same industry. Not all of them, obviously. And Phil, from the tone of some of Phil's emails, he's very anti the sort of thing I do. He's very anti giving away anything for free. Everything should be paid for, says Phil, if you read some of his emails. Whereas I take an opposite approach. I'm very happy to give away a lot of stuff for free on the basis that that will in turn attract business for me. And I like doing stuff for free, as I've already said. Right, so let's talk about some of the benefits of email marketing. We'll skip through some bullet points then, never mind. We'll stick with that. So the benefits of email marketing. Well, the people on your mailing list have shown an interest. Typically, they've signed up for something. They've signed up for something that you're doing. They've signed up on your website. They have actively shown an interest, which is much more involved than simply clicking like on Facebook or Twitter or something like, or follow on Twitter. So there's already a clue there that these people are reasonably interested in what it is that you do. And you own the audience. Now, this is really significant. Just check the time out. Okay, we've got some time. Yeah. You own the audience. It's your mailing list. Yes, it might be hosted on a particular emailing system, a MailChimp or whatever, but it's your data. You own the audience. I'll reference GDPR briefly a bit later on, but you own it. Now, this is really important. Now, an author friend of ours, so again, a writer, somebody who runs a small business, she was building up a strong profile on Facebook, and she was getting a lot of activity on Facebook. She had a Facebook group, and then there was an unfortunate incident where basically her account got hacked. Some very unfortunate material was published on her account. As a result, Facebook took her account down, they took her group down, they took her page down, and they won't allow her back. And they still won't allow her back months later. She has lost all of her Facebook activity, her Facebook page, which was important to her. Fortunately, she had started to build a mailing list. So her mailing list is secure, it's hers, she can access that data, and she can still email people. But the social media platform that she was using as a sort of her primary, effectively her website, is gone entirely and she can't get it back. So one of the benefits of email marketing, you own the audience. Another benefit is it is very low cost. Things like MailChimp you can use for free. Apologies if I keep referencing MailChimp. I'm not advocating them in any way. I use them, but I'm also aware of their limitations. The MailChimp offer you a free option. Some of the other services have free options or free trials. Obviously, a free trial is not so good because it runs out. after a while. Something else about email marketing is that you can see the people who consistently open your emails, and your consistent email openers, the people who open every single email, or 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 or whatever, they're fans of yours. You've got a core base of people who are actually interested in what it is that you do. And that's quite nice to know from a sort of warm, fuzzy point of view. But it's also, you've got a body of people there who are engaging with what you do. And email marketing allows you to take people on a journey in a way that social media, great though social media is, can't do. What I mean by a journey? Well, some of the tools within email marketing allow you to segment your audience, to tag your audience. So for example, I can tag people in my audience for the courses that they've attended and for other things that they've done. And then I can email people on that basis. So I can email people who've attended my Instagram courses and say, look, I'm running this particular Instagram workshop. Is this of interest to you? I won't email everybody because not everyone's interested in Instagram, but the people who've attended my Instagram courses are much more likely to be interested than in something more specific. So email marketing allows you to take people on customized journeys, and personalization and customization are becoming increasing features of email marketing, rather than just sending the same email to everyone on your mailing list every single time. Yes, it takes time to set up. The good thing is that there are tools that can help you to automate these things, but there will be a requirement of investment of time. So any more questions? Keep asking questions, please. So stages of email. So this is just sort of walking you through the process, and this we'll talk about the building your list now. So there's various stages, life cycle, if you like, of email. And the first piece is building your mailing list. And I'm not going to pretend it's easy, because it's not. GDPR has come along and has made it harder in some regards. And I'm no GDPR expert. And my take on it is that there are different perspectives on GDPR, particularly for small businesses. If you talk to a GDPR expert about the things you can and can't do, I'm sure they'll give you a very, very long list. I think there's a lot of common sense involved around this. You certainly don't want to be buying email lists off people. You certainly don't want to be just emailing everybody who you've run into and you happen to have got their business card. You want to be taking responsibility around the privacy issues, and only emailing people who have shown an interest in what you do, that have signed up in some way to what it is that you do. It takes time to build a mailing list. What I'd recommend is that you make it easy for people to sign up. You have a landing page on your website. A landing page is a page which is dedicated just to a particular function. So just a page dedicated to getting people to sign up to your mailing list. You can create a landing page on MailChimp. So if you don't have a website, or it's not easy to put a landing page on your website, you can create your own custom landing page within MailChimp, and you can direct people to do that. I've got some landing pages that are actually hosted on MailChimp. And when I put out tweets and things saying sign up to my mailing list, I'm sending them to MailChimp. They sign up on the MailChimp page. They don't necessarily know it's MailChimp, but they will come, but that obviously puts them into the MailChimp database for me. So the most important thing about building your list is the sooner you start, the sooner it will start to grow. You remember there's the metaphor or whatever about how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it one chunk at a time. Same with the reverse is with a mailing list. How do you build a sizable mailing list? Well, you build it one email at a time. And in the early days, it will look a bit thin, probably. That 10, 20, 50. Ooh, yippee, I've made it to 100 emails on my mailing list. And not all of them will open your emails. So the open rates, an average open rate for emails, a good average is somewhere like about 25 to 30%. So that's what 3 out of 10 people opening your emails. So you have to accept that a lot of people, even though you're on your mailing list, will not ever open your emails, or will only open some of your emails. Welcome emails. I've already referred to welcome emails. It's really important to have a welcome email process, as I've already said. By having a welcome email, you're immediately connecting with someone the moment that they've signed up, and 8 out of 10 people will open those welcome emails. You might want to put a voucher in there, a discount offer, or just tell them a bit more about who you are or what your business does. Just give them something that's going to be useful to them. At the end of the day, People will read stuff that's relevant and useful to them. Newsletters. The most common form of email marketing is newsletters. So, and what is a newsletter? Well, it can be many different things, but it's sharing information with people. There are many other forms of emails for email marketing, and I'll refer to some of those, but the most common form are newsletters. There are lots of different options for custom emails as well. I've already sort of alluded to some. You know, if you're running a particular, in my case, if I was running a course for a particular audience of people, I would just email those people and say, I'm running this, is this of interest to you? So that's a custom email. So it's, you've got your mailing list. Don't just think of it as a list of tens or hundreds of names that you can send one email to. Can you break it down? Can you segment it? Can you say, well, these people are interested in this, these people are this is the sort of information that will be relevant to this particular group of people based upon their age or how they've engaged with your business in the past or something like that. Another stage of email marketing is reactivation emails. So you've got people on your mailing list who signed up, and I need to do this, I'm looking at this right now, people who signed up months ago and then they've not opened any of your emails, or they haven't opened an email for months. Yeah. You could just write them off and say, well, I'm just going to stop sending stuff to them. It's not a good practice to keep sending stuff to people who don't open emails for months and months and years, because the email service providers will see that data and they'll say, well, you're sending out loads of emails, but most of them aren't getting opened. Are they good quality, or should we hide them from people? And the email systems are getting better at hiding emails from people. So you want to have lots of people opening your emails. So people who don't open them, people who've been on your mailing list for ages, and haven't opened stuff, there's a whole process you can go through of reactivating them by the end of the day, sending emails to them and trying to nudge them into either engaging or unsubscribing. Now, unsubscribing is a tricky one, isn't it? Because whenever someone unsubscribes from your mailing list, there's a bit of you dies. And I know this, I've seen it from other people as well. Yeah, oh, they've unsubscribed. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Well, what you're doing wrong is probably nothing. What's happening is that they've decided that your emails aren't for them anymore. I unsubscribe from loads of stuff regularly. I'm sure you do too. So put yourself on the other side. The person who's unsubscribing from your emails, unless they come back to you and tell you that what you're doing is unhelpful in some way, they've probably just lost interest. It's not relevant to their life anymore in some way. So, yeah. Sometimes a bit of a thick skin is required there. But reactivation emails is a process of going through and actually encouraging people to re-engage or disengage. So on that subject of reactivation emails, here's another one that I open on a regular basis. And these are emails that come in from Kenda. Kenda runs Automation Ninjas, which is all about marketing automation. And they write a lot about email marketing. So I suggest you go and look at their website and their blog. And this is actually one that came in just the other day. And it talks about inactive subscribers, the people I've just been discussing. And Kenda links then to a blog post where she describes processes that you can go through to actually re-engage with those people. So I open these on a regular basis. Why? Because what Kenda sends out is high quality information. It's relevant to me because I'm very interested in digital marketing and small businesses. So it connects with me in that way. It's presented very straightforwardly, as you can see, as with the previous email and did with all the others. The short sentences for the most part, lots of white space, short paragraphs, no big blocks of text. You don't want big blocks of text on a screen. It's just hard to read. So if you're going to be writing emails with quite a bit of text on them, break the text up. Lots of short paragraphs, lots of white space. Okay, so keep questions coming. I haven't seen any more, so please, if you've got any other questions, as we go through them, please ask them if there's something you're already thinking of as a question. This training, by the way, is powered by Ko-fi. This is a minor commercial for me. I'm running this training course for you for free. It costs you nothing. But if you think what I do is worth at least the price of a coffee, and maybe you've attended some of my other training courses or you're planning to, if you want to support what I do and make some small contribution to it on a voluntary basis, then please go to ko-fi.com/Andrew Explainer, and there you can show support. You can give me a little bit of support financially by helping to offset the costs, because there is a cost to me of running these courses in terms of my time, in terms of all the other tools and things that I use. So no obligation, but if you want to show support in some way, that is much appreciated. And I am contemplating in the not too distant future starting to run some sessions which are purely for people, for supporters, basically. So again, segregating my audience. Okay, so move on. Email newsletters. Let's talk about email newsletters in a bit more detail. So these are the most common form of email that businesses put out. The most important thing with a newsletter is that you make it about them. Who's them? The reader. You want to be making sure that they feel that when they're getting something, it's relevant to them. Of course, it's going to be about you as well. It's going to be about something that's happening in your business or about particular products or something like that. But make sure that you position it and word it in a way that it feels like it's all about them. Help to keep them engaged. Also have something to say. There are some organizations that send out email newsletters. I've seen them. They're not really newsletters at all. They're just email brochures. They're just here's a product, here's a product, here's a product. This product's on sale this month, blah, 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 blah. Or for retailers, they probably work on a large scale. You're sending out thousands, millions even of these emails. You'd only need to get a small percentage of people actually clicking and buying, and it pays back on that. But it's good as a small business when you're reaching out to just tens of people or just a few hundred people. Have actually something interesting to say to them. There's lots of things you can find to talk about in your business, but it's important to have something interesting to say. Choose your tone of voice. Tone of voice is really important when it comes to emails. And again, look at the emails that you're getting from other people and think about how they come across. Are they coming across friendly and cheerful and chatty? Are they coming across a bit formal? Are they coming across, and there's no rights and wrongs in these different tones. Emails from organizations of people who work in the financial services sector and the legal sector will tend to come across a little bit more formal. But that's partly because it's important to them to be demonstrating credibility so that you can trust them, because you're dealing with people in the finance sector or in the legal sector, and you want to be able to trust these people. So there's a particular tone or set of tones that they tend to take. Whereas somebody who's an artist, let's say, and selling artwork and creative things, then their tone could potentially be very different. They might be able to get away with things like bad spelling and bad grammar, and because it's just part of their character and it's part of who they are. But choose your tone and then endeavor to stick to your tone. Tell stories. I gave the example right at the start of Phil, who sends out an email every week or so and is always telling stories. People engage with stories. It could be a story about you. It could be a story about one of your customers. It could be a story, you don't have to name them, obviously. But tell stories. People engage with stories. Stories, human beings love stories. So tell stories in your email newsletters. Again, a story doesn't need to be very long. It just needs to be a few lines, just talking about how something happened. And engage emotion as well. Talk about how people feel, how you feel, or how, it's try and engage people's emotion in your content. Other email opportunities. So I said newsletters are the primary form of email that tend to go out, but other places where you can be emailing or times you can email. Obviously, if someone buys from you, then you send them an email to confirm the purchase. If you're not sending them an email to confirm the purchase, then I highly recommend you do. And take it as a marketing opportunity. It's not just a time to say, hello, thank you for buying. It's an opportunity to remind them that they could sign up to your mailing list. It's an opportunity to remind them of something about your business, to give them some insight into who you are or what it is that you do. So take that as an opportunity rather than just a, hello, you bought something. Similarly, an order status update. I remember hearing the story of a florist in the Birmingham area, and the florist made, this wasn't email, this was messenger, but it was the same principle. And what they did was every time somebody ordered a bunch of flowers, they made a point of sending a message to the person who ordered the bunch of flowers with a picture of the bunch, but also the floral display rather than just a bunch of flowers. Bouquets and things like that. And often these people were ordering bouquets on behalf of somebody else, and the bouquet was to be delivered somewhere else. So this particular florist was doing was they were sending a picture of the bouquet and the person who put the bouquet together to the person who ordered it. So it just helped to confirm that personal touch. Here's the bouquet that we're sending to your mother for Mother's Day, let's say. And here's, Joe or whoever who's put that bouquet together for you. So it's just put a bit more humanity into the business rather than just, yeah, we've sent your thing, it's in the post. Emails, ask for reviews, go to your customers and ask them for reviews. And again, you're sending them an email to them, it's an opportunity to, there's a marketing aspect to that as well. Don't be shy of asking people for reviews or feedback. After this session, you will get an email from me asking for feedback as to how you found it. And I'm a trainer, I would love to know what you thought about the session, what you thought was good and useful, but what I really want to know is actually how it could be made better. What I really want to hear is where it could be improved so that I can improve what I do for you and for other business owners. Event invitations. So you might want to start thinking about having events. An event doesn't need to be anything particularly special. It could just be, obviously, if you've got premises, you could be having an open session or something like that. Come and view our new range of whatevers. Or it could be an online thing. You can, the online tools it's so easy to run an online session. Whatever sort of business you're in, you could choose to run a webinar. It doesn't require a massive amount of organization to set something up and run it these days. Just, I'm going to run a question and answer on a particular subject. You're comfortable talking about your subject, then create an event where people can come and ask you questions about it. And again, that's an email opportunity, as well as an opportunity to actually speak to them. Drip campaigns. So just allude to drip campaigns. Drip campaigns is where you're sending out a series of emails with some pieces of information. Now, there are various forms of drip campaign. A welcome email, talked about welcome emails already. A welcome email could be a series of welcome emails. If you sign up to my mailing list, for example, you will get 3 welcome emails over a period of 3 days. That's a drip campaign. So each email has a slightly different focus. Someone's bought a product from you. You could say, do you want to sign up to the training course or the information course that goes with this particular product? And over the next little while, you could drip through a series of emails information that's useful to them. You could deliver a training course as a drip campaign. That's something that I'm planning to do, is to run a training session effectively as a series of emails to drip those emails into people's inboxes over time. So those are just some of the different ways that you can use email to reach people rather than just using newsletters. Another example now of an email that I open on a reasonably regular basis. No apologies, really, because I work in the world of digital marketing, and a lot of these emails are around digital marketing. This one comes from an organization called 1,000 Monkeys. It's a copywriting business. And I particularly wanted to mention this one because this one landed in my inbox just the other day. And the subject line in the inbox was the first point on those 3 bullet points: how to write an executive summary. And that was what made me open the email. Why? Well, because I was at that point writing a report for somebody, and I was just getting to, I need to write the executive summary. And the email dropped in, it said how to write an executive summary. And so it just connected at just the right time. Now, I've written lots of executive summaries in the past, but I was curious to know what they had to say on it and whether they had anything different to say. So the timing, obviously the timing wouldn't be right for everybody, but for me at that point, the timing was right for me to open their email. Obviously, I didn't buy anything from them, but it got them an email open. It got them a statistic on their mailing list. And it just demonstrates that if you're sending out an email to lots of people, then some of those people it will connect with. The subject that you're writing about, whatever it is, will be relevant to some of your audience at that point in time. So if you're not sending emails, you're missing out on that opportunity. So very quickly through your options for, where are we, 1640? Your options for email marketing. just some really thoughts to help you move forward. Now, what I'm not going to do is stand here and recommend a particular email marketing system. Now, I've talked about MailChimp a number of times. They are the big one, the one that everyone tends to talk about, particularly for their free service. They're not perfect. There are flaws in the system. And the main point here is that there are many different email systems. I think I saw a stat the other day, and there's well over 100 different email systems out there. Most of them only have a small market share. MailChimp and some of the others are much bigger than that. And I'll leave it to you, if you're not familiar with these systems, to go away and do your own research into which ones you might be relevant to you, and to trial a few. But things to think about when you're choosing is, how does the integration work with other systems? Is integration important to you? So, for example, MailChimp have just been taken over by Intuit. Intuit, who provide QuickBooks, is it? I think it's QuickBooks. So if it's important to you to have integration between your QuickBooks and MailChimp, then there's an opportunity there. I think we use QuickBooks, but we're not using the integration features there. So some email systems will integrate with other systems, and MailChimp themselves are actually looking to become more than just an email system. They were working towards becoming a whole customer relationship management system. Whether that's changed with the takeover from Intuit, I don't actually know. Other things to think about in terms of email marketing is segmentation. I've already mentioned segmentation earlier on, the whole thing about breaking down your people on your mailing list into different categories and different groups. How well do the tools that you want to use do that for you? So I use MailChimp. There are some quite good segmentation options in MailChimp. There are also some really frustrating options or lack of options in MailChimp. So, for example, if you sign up via my website, I can't immediately put a tag on against your email address that says you came from my website. If you sign up on one of their landing pages that you create in MailChimp, you can assign tags automatically. So it's really annoying that you can't assign those tags automatically when they're coming in from a different site. But that's just an example of where the integration isn't ideal. But there's an investment when you're looking to move from one emailing system to another, and at some point I will move away from MailChimp, I'm sure. Then there's an investment in time in researching a new option and also making the change. So at the minute, I'm happy to put up with the limitations of MailChimp. Automation is another important aspect. I've talked about drip campaigns. I've talked about the automatic welcome email. These are features of automation. Can you set the system up so that when people take a certain action, that you get a certain series of actions that follows on from that? So somebody signs up, and then over the next few days or weeks, they get one or more welcome emails sent over a period of time. So you need to think about the automation options there. Any more questions? If you've got any more questions, please ask them. We're getting towards the end of the time. So I don't have too much longer to answer those. So if something's burning, then please let me know. And the other feature to think about with email marketing is design. How easy is it to design an email? Actually, a lot of the emails that I see, and some of the examples I've used already, are actually very basic. There's not a lot of design. They're not very glossy. There's not lots of pictures, not lots of sections. I'd recommend keeping your email relatively simple, focusing on the words. Obviously, you're retail and you're selling products, and product pictures are important. That's a different matter. You want to make sure that there's some good use of imagery there. So some thoughts about email marketing and getting started. Choose a provider. I've already talked about the challenge there. Probably makes sense to check out something like MailChimp to start with, but there are plenty of other providers out there to select from. Recommend that you create a landing page. Because how do I get people to sign up to my mailing list? As I've already said, that's a challenge. Well, have a landing page somewhere on your website, or with MailChimp, you can have a MailChimp landing page. I'm sure some of the other systems probably provide that same functionality, but a page that you can direct people to, so that when you've got messages going out saying, sign up to my mailing list, you're sending them to a specific web page. It's good to have your email sign up on the bottom of every page on your website, but not everyone scrolls down to the bottom of every page on the website, and not everybody thinks, oh, I must sign up when they see that thing pop up. And talking of pop-ups, there's a general consensus that pop-ups, having things pop up on the screen saying, oh, sign up to our mailing list, is a good way to go. I detest them, and lots of other people do too, so I don't use them, but the stats apparently would say that pop-ups work. I did try them a while back and I didn't notice any difference, but perhaps I didn't try it for long enough. But using sign-up form at touch points. What's a touch point? A touch point is whenever you're engaging with the customer. So, if you've got a shop and a till, then, do people want to sign up to your mailing list? You can ask them, at the point of the transaction when they're at the till. If you send them emails, have something on your email footer that encourages people to sign up. Every stage, give them the opportunity to sign up. And again, you'll be directing them very often to that landing page. Give people a reason. Why should you sign up to my mailing list? Don't sign up to Andrew's mailing list just to make him feel better because there's somebody else on it. What's the benefit? Are there going to be discounts? Are there going to be offers? Are there going to be exclusives? Am I going to get information that's really useful to me? So give people a reason for signing up to a mailing list. And again, that welcome email. I've said that several times, but I'll repeat it again. As part of your initial setup, make sure that you have a welcome email in place. Don't just leave people to sign up to your mailing list and then just do, oh, what's the response there? I've signed up to mailing lists in the past, and there's not the user interface has been so poor that I've not even been sure whether the sign up process even worked. I just, you put your address into a box on the screen, you press OK, and then nothing happens. Did it work? Did it not work? Some sort of confirmation message on the screen is useful, but a welcome email is going to be much more effective. It demonstrates it's actually worked all the way through. So finally, just to wrap up, I'm going to talk about the last of the emails that I've been receiving from people that I open on a regular basis. The others I talked about were service emails. So this is a product email that I open pretty much every one that comes in. And this is from Wine Supply. You may have heard of them, Naked Wines. And again, their emails are just straight text. So they're selling a product, but they don't send me pictures of the product. They don't send me, I buy wine from a couple of people, or have done in the past, and the other firm that I buy from or have bought from in the past send me glossy brochures every few months. It comes to the door, lots of pictures of wine bottles and wine in glasses and stuff, and lots of nice pictures. But Naked Wines, there's none of that. It's just straight text. But what I like about them is that they always feel as if they're about me. So, for example, talk about earlier on about making sure that it's about them. So, they've worded this way, and I will spend a bit of time on the words on this one. So, great news, some of your favorite wines just got kinder to the planet. So that's immediately appealing to me, some of my favorite wines. And it makes it sound personal. I thought I'd drop you a note. Now, of course, they're not just dropping me a note, they're dropping everybody on their mailing list a note. So Paul's asked a question, and I'll come back to that, Paul, in just a moment. So there's a lot of stuff in their emails, and looking at this email here, the point I particularly want to make is that there's a lot of text here, and you're seeing less than half the email on the screen. So there's a lot of text to read through here. But what I like particularly is the way that they've used headings. So there's the heading at the top there, great news, some of your favorite wines just got kinder to the planet. Now, the reason why I'm talking about headings is because not everybody will read every word of your email. In fact, most people won't. People skim them. But what I've done is I've pulled out the 4 headings that they use on this email. So the first of the headings was, great news, some of your favorite wines just got kinder to the planet. And beneath that, there was a block of text, blah, 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 blah. Next headline, more than 20% of our bottles will be lighter in weight in 2022. That's 6 million bottles. More text, blah, 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 blah. Headline, the juice inside would be exactly the same delicious quality, just in a lighter, friendlier bottle. Followed by more text, blah, 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 blah. Finally, if you're keen to know which wines will be first in line, so on, and here's a link to click. Now, what I like about this is that the entire message of the email is encapsulated in those 4 headlines. So for people like me who skim the email, I didn't read most of the blah, 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 but I got the message. Great news. Okay, something, they're informing me about something, and wines just got kinder. What's the news? The news is that 20% of the bottles will be lighter. So they're giving away the key points in the headlines. But just because the stuff's lighter, because the immediate thought there is, oh, does that mean you're changing the quality of the wine? No, the quality of the wine will be exactly the same. And then right at the end, or towards the bottom of the email, if you want to know more, here's a link to click, and obviously it takes you through to the website and you can buy stuff and all the rest of it. So I like the way that they've written quite a long email. They've addressed it so it feels like it's coming to me. Of course, I know it's not just to me, but they've used the headline features. They've used the headlines to really get the message across very succinctly. They could have just sent out an email with just those 4 headlines on it, and that would have said exactly the same thing. But they're appealing to different types of reader, and it's important to think about that with your emails. Appeal to different types of reader. Some people will just skim stuff. Some people will actually want to read the detail. So that's just a sort of takeaway thought as we come to the end of this particular session. So I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you for coming along to the session this afternoon. I'm going to answer the questions here. So Paul answered the question, how do you set up personal emails? So dear, hi, whatever. So in MailChimp and indeed the other systems, there are tools for doing that. You can insert, I can't remember exactly what terminology is in MailChimp, but you get the option to insert tags, and the tag will be replaced when the email goes out. The tag will be replaced by the person's name or a particular product or whatever the tag is linked to. So I can't show you the detail of that, but it's relatively straightforward in MailChimp to do that. And if you're not sure, Google it. How do I add a personalized tag? Or send me a message afterwards if you want to follow up and ask me a specific question. Please send me a message on one of the social media channels or email me. One of the other things that I'm doing is I'm recording short training sessions every week, and I'm putting them onto YouTube. And I would love to know the sort of things that people would like those short training sessions, literally 2 minutes on how to do a very specific task. And so that's the sort of thing that I could turn into a short training session. And then Paul is saying, do you need the other text or would you just use these paragraphs? So I think I've answered that question. You could have just got the message across in 3 or 4 lines, as with that Naked Wines email, but by having the extra text in there, it's added some depth, even though I'm not choosing to read it in my case, or in the case of many people, but some people will read it. And making an email longer, should an email be really short or should it be really long? Different schools of thought on that. But by having a longer email, people invest more time in reading it. And when people invest more time in reading something, it's more likely that they will stay engaged with it. The ultimate answer to most questions in terms of marketing is try different things and see what happens. Because there are all these principles out there, when's the best time of day to email people, and when's the best time of day to do this, and what's the best way to approach that. The real test is put stuff out there and see what the response is, see how people respond. Now, you haven't got huge resources to do lots of testing. I appreciate that as a small business owner, but get stuff out there and then see how it works and try mixing it up a bit to see if the different things get a different response. So I'm hoping that I've answered your questions. I'm hoping that was useful to you this afternoon. I will put this session onto, I think it's gone okay, so I'm going to put this session onto YouTube and I'll send you a link to that. I'll also send you a link to the feedback form. I'd love to get your feedback. But thank you very much for attending and for staying on and listening. I'm assuming that some of you have listened at least. And Paul says thank you.